Let me tell you something powerful I learned early on in my journey. The way you think determines the life you lead. It's not just about what's in your bank account. It's about what's in your mind. You see, the mind is like a garden. You can plant flowers or you can let weeds grow. If you want to live like a millionaire, you've got to start thinking like one. The habits, the discipline, the clarity, it all begins in the mind. Wealth isn't something you stumble into. It's something you attract by the person you become. And that transformation, it starts right up here. Most people wait. They wait for the economy to change. They wait for their boss to recognize them. They wait for some miracle or opportunity to knock on their door. But the truth is, nothing changes until you change. Your mind is the starting line. Millionaires don't think about what they lack. They think about what's possible. They don't sit around hoping things get easy. They get stronger. That shift in mindset is what opens doors, creates breakthroughs, and sets you apart. Now, training the mind isn't automatic. You don't just wake up one day and have a millionaire's mentality. No, it's something you work on every day, just like a muscle. You feed it good information, you challenge it with new ideas, you discipline it to stay focused on the goal. I always say, stand guard at the door of your mind. Don't let just anything walk in. Negative thoughts, small thinking, excuses. Those things will take root and choke your potential. But when you fill your mind with vision, purpose, and responsibility, suddenly the world starts to change around you. Most people are programmed by their past. They let their upbringing, their circumstances, or their failures define what they believe they can achieve. But here's the truth. Your past does not determine your future. Your thinking does. So, if you want to shift your future, start by shifting your thoughts. Start questioning the beliefs that have been holding you back. Start replacing fear with faith. Start acting like your goals are not only possible, they are inevitable. One of the key differences between a struggling mindset and a wealthy one is how they respond to problems. Most folks run from problems. They complain, they blame, they wish them away. But millionaires, they look at problems as puzzles to be solved. Challenges aren't stop signs, they're stepping stones. And when your mind is trained to think this way, you stop reacting like a victim and start responding like a leader. That mindset attracts opportunity, it commands respect, and more importantly, it builds confidence. Confidence doesn't come from everything going right. It comes from knowing you'll handle it when it doesn't. You develop that kind of inner strength when you train your mind to stay calm under pressure, to stay clear when things get chaotic, and to stay focused when distractions are everywhere. That's the kind of mental toughness that builds empires. That's what makes a difference. Another thing you'll notice about people who think like millionaires, they have vision, they see farther than today. They aren't just caught up in the moment. They think in years, not just weeks. They plan, they prepare, and they project. The reason they're willing to work hard today is because they're already living mentally in the future they're building. That's the kind of thinking that keeps you going when results are slow, when people doubt you, or when you feel tired. Vision is fuel for a trained mind, and don't underestimate the power of self-talk. What you say to yourself every day becomes the script your mind runs on. If you constantly tell yourself you're not good enough, smart enough, or lucky enough, your mind will believe you and act accordingly. But if you tell yourself, I've got what it takes, I'm willing to learn, I'm becoming better every day, then your actions will start aligning with that truth. Your mindset isn't fixed, it's flexible. And you have the power to shape it, one thought at a time. The beautiful thing is, once you train your mind to think like a millionaire, everything else begins to follow. You start making better decisions. You start using your time more wisely. You stop chasing shortcuts and start building foundations. You begin to attract the right people, recognize the right opportunities, and reject the things that once held you back. It's not magic, it's mindset, and it's available to anyone willing to do the work. If you want to change your income, your relationships, your future, start by changing your thinking. Discipline is one of those words people hear all the time but rarely stop to understand. It's not punishment, it's not about being rigid or hard on yourself, it's about structure, it's about self-respect, it's about doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. If you want to train your mind to think and perform like a millionaire, discipline has to be your best friend. Because without discipline, dreams stay dreams. With discipline, they turn into reality. A lot of people say they want success, but their daily actions tell a different story. They hit the snooze button, they scroll through distractions, they make excuses instead of progress, and let me tell you something. Millionaires don't live that way. They don't wait for the motivation to show up. They create it through discipline. They make a plan, and they stick to it. They decide in advance how they're going to spend their time, their energy, and their resources. That's the level of intentionality it takes to build a life of real freedom. Every goal, every dream, every breakthrough you want, it all depends on your ability to be consistent, and consistency only comes from discipline. It's easy to be excited for a day. It's easy to be committed for a week. But what about when no one's watching? What about when it's hard or boring or slow? That's where discipline kicks in. Discipline is what keeps you going when the emotion fades. It's what builds habits strong enough to carry you through the rough spots. And I'll tell you this, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Millionaires build systems. They schedule their time, they plan their priorities, they know exactly what they're working on each day, and they don't leave it to chance. If something is important, they put it on the calendar. If something matters, they show up for it. That's how they stay ahead, not because they're smarter, but because they're structured. The truth is, discipline is freedom. It doesn't trap you, it frees you. When you're disciplined, you're not controlled by moods or distractions or impulses. You're in charge. You say what gets your attention. You choose where your energy goes. That's a powerful place to live from. And that's what builds the kind of confidence that can't be shaken. When you keep promises to yourself, you start trusting yourself. And that trust creates momentum. Now, here's something to remember. Discipline isn't all or nothing. It's not perfection. You're going to mess up. You're going to have off days. But that's not what defines you. What defines you is how quickly you bounce back. You miss one day. Fine, just don't miss two. Get back to the routine. Get back to the plan. Millionaires don't let small setbacks turn into full-blown detours. They course-correct quickly and get right back to work. And that brings me to another important point. Discipline with your thoughts is just as important as discipline with your actions. What you allow in your mind will eventually shape your results. Are you feeding your mind with doubt or with belief? Are you talking yourself out of things before you even begin? The thoughts you entertain become the life you experience. So discipline your thinking. Catch the negativity and challenge it. Replace it with something stronger, something truer, something that moves you forward. Look, anyone can be disciplined when it's easy. The test is when it's inconvenient. When you're tired, when nobody's clapping, when you don't see the results yet. That's when you find out what you're really made of. And that's when you build the kind of mental strength that turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. You start to realize that discipline is not something you endure, it's something you embrace. It's not the enemy, it's the path. Think of it this way. Every small act of discipline is like making a deposit in your future. Every early morning, every book you read, every distraction you resist, those are investments. And just like with money, the more you invest, the more it grows. At first, you might not see much, but over time, those small deposits start to compound. And one day, you wake up in a life that's unrecognizable, in the best way possible. So if you're serious about success, make this commitment. Don't just set goals, build disciplines, don't just dream, design a daily routine that supports it. Because once your habits align with your vision, there's nothing that can stop you. One of the most important decisions you'll ever make in your life isn't about what job you take, or where you live, or even how much money you want to make. It's about who you choose to spend your time with, the people you associate with on a regular basis, have the power to shape your thoughts, your habits, your mindset, and ultimately your future. If you want to train your mind like a millionaire, then you need to surround yourself with people who think like winners. Now, I'm not saying you cut everyone off and go live in isolation. What I am saying is this: be intentional. Pay attention to the energy around you. Pay attention to the conversations you're having every day. Are you talking about ideas, solutions, and possibilities? Or are you stuck in gossip, complaints, and small thinking? Because let me tell you, the mind soaks up whatever it's around the most. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, you're going to have a hard time thinking big. You've got to elevate your circle if you want to elevate your life. Spend time with people who challenge you to grow, people who aren't impressed with your excuses, people who remind you of your potential, not your limitations. You want to be around those who stretch your vision, who live with purpose, and who are actively building something meaningful in their own lives. That kind of influence is powerful. It rubs off on you. Too many people are loyal to comfort instead of growth. They stay in the same conversations, the same routines, the same crowds, even when they know those environments aren't serving them. But growth requires change. It requires you to leave behind what's familiar so you can discover what's possible. And sometimes that means saying no to relationships that keep you stuck in the past, not with judgment or bitterness, but with clarity, with the understanding that your time and your energy are your most valuable assets, and they should be spent wisely. I always say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Find people who are doing what you want to do, people who have achieved what you want to achieve. Study them, learn from them, let their presence pull you up. Millionaires don't isolate themselves. They collaborate with people who inspire and sharpen them. They know the value of proximity. They know that being around excellence forces them to rise to a higher level. And it's not just about business or money. It's about mindset. You need to be around people who think in terms of possibilities. People who believe that setbacks are setups for comebacks. People who stay calm under pressure and focused on the long game. That kind of environment keeps you grounded and motivated. It strengthens your mind. It helps you see beyond temporary circumstances. Sometimes, the people you need most won't be in your immediate circle. They'll be in books, in seminars, in podcasts, in communities you haven't joined yet. That's okay, go seek them out, go where the growth is. You don't have to be best friends with them, but if you can absorb even a little bit of their perspective, it can make a world of difference. And over time, as you grow, you'll begin attracting better people. It's like a magnet. Who you become determines who you bring into your life. And let me give you this little reminder. Be the kind of person someone else wants to grow with too. Don't just look for people to push you. Be someone who uplifts others. Speak life. Offer encouragement. Share what you're learning. There's no shortage of people out there trying to tear others down. Be different. Be the kind of influence you wish you had. Because leadership isn't about having all the answers, it's about helping people ask better questions. It's about moving forward together. It's amazing how your life can transform when you shift your environment. Suddenly, goals that once felt impossible start to seem reasonable. You stop doubting yourself because the people around you won't let you forget what you're capable of. You start thinking bigger, acting bolder, and believing deeper. That's the power of association. That's what happens when your circle is aligned with your vision. So, if you're serious about building a millionaire mindset, then be just as serious about building a millionaire environment. Let me tell you something that changed the way I lived my life. Time is more valuable than money. You can always earn more money, but you can't earn more time. Once a moment is gone, it's gone. And if you want to train your mind like a millionaire, you've got to start treating time the way they do, not as something to spend, but as something to invest. That one shift can change everything. Most people don't think about time that way. They waste hours the same way some people waste dollars, without even realizing it. They treat time casually, thinking there's always more of it. But millionaires, they treat every minute like it matters, because it does. They understand that time compounds. How you use an hour today influences what your year looks like tomorrow. You've got to ask yourself, am I managing my time, or is my time managing me? Because if you don't take control of your time, someone else will. Your phone will. The television will. That random email or that pointless conversation will. You've got to be ruthless about protecting your time. Why? Because time is life. Every wasted minute is a piece of your life you'll never get back. And the way you use your time reveals how seriously you take your own potential. One of the habits I developed early on was planning my day before it began. Not just reacting to it, planning it. Knowing exactly what needed to be done, what I was working toward, and how every action fit into a larger goal. Because once you start living on purpose, instead of by accident, your results begin to shift. And it's not about being busy. There are a lot of people who are busy, but not productive. They run all day, but they're not moving forward. They're spinning in circles. Millionaires don't just fill their calendars. They fill their lives with meaningful action. They ask themselves constantly, is this the best use of my time right now? Will this action bring me closer to my goals? If the answer is no, they delegate it, delete it, or defer it. That's how they keep the main thing the main thing. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. Distractions are expensive. You might not notice it right away, but every interruption chips away at your focus, your energy, and your results. It's like trying to fill a bucket with holes in it. If you're serious about training your mind for success, then you've got to train yourself to say no. Say no to what doesn't align. Say no to urgency that isn't your own. Say no to anything that pulls you away from your purpose. When you start valuing time like money, you begin to see how much of it you were giving away without return. You start tracking it, budgeting it, investing it in things that multiply its impact. And just like financial wealth grows through smart investments, your life grows through smart use of time. Spend your time with people who challenge you. Use it to learn, to build, to create, to grow. Use it to sharpen your mind, develop your skills, and deepen your vision. You know, it's not the big decisions that shape your life the most. It's the small ones you make over and over. The decision to wake up early or hit snooze. To read a book or scroll through noise. To prepare or to procrastinate. These aren't just habits. They're investments of time that either build your future or borrow from it. And when your mind is trained to see time as precious, you start making different choices. You stop chasing instant gratification and start focusing on long-term reward. You stop trying to impress and start trying to improve. That's the mindset shift. That's what sets people apart. Success doesn't come from one massive action. It comes from thousands of small, intentional ones, done consistently over time. That's why how you treat your time today matters more than anything you plan to do someday. And here's something else I learned. Your calendar is a mirror of your values. If you say health is important but there's no time set aside to move your body, do you really value it? If you say your dream matters but you haven't carved out space to work on it, how serious are you? The truth is, your life will always reflect what you consistently make time for. So ask yourself, where is my time going? Who is it going to? What am I allowing in? Because when you start protecting your time, you start protecting your future. You begin to live with clarity, with purpose, and with power. That's the mindset of a millionaire. That's how you build a life that not only looks good, but feels right. Start today. Treat your time like it's gold, because it is.